Padres Hot Tub is brought to you by our Patreon subscribers, now nearly 600 strong. We thank all of you for your support of our work. The only thing better than watching the Padres win is watching them win with community, and that is what the Padres Hot Tub is. Raphie, Craig, and I work in media, fragmented, uncertain endeavor at best, and having our most dedicated audience members contribute the equivalent of a latte, a burrito, or a half tank of gas to the show every month very much helps. If you're a longtime listener, consider joining them at patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. There are loads of benefits, tangible goods like stickers or t-shirts, exclusive access to our multitude of bonus content like post-game shows, and a welcome into our Discord, which is frankly the best place on the World Wide Web to talk Padres baseball. Thank you to them for making Padres Hot Tub possible, and thanks to you for listening.
Welcome to the Padres Hot Tub, everybody. Elsten, Chris Reed, Raphie Cantor. It feels like it's been a while, but it also feels like it hasn't because we've probably done like 10 post-game shows in between our last full show. But that's because Chris and I were in Sacramento last Monday. Scheduling was impossible the previous Sunday. It'd been a little bit cattywampus, but here we are. We never left, but here we are to discuss the best team in baseball, the hottest thing around, best thing since sliced bread, warmly toasted and smothered in butter. It's the San Diego Padres, ladies and gentlemen. The team that's gone 10-0 at home, it's hopefully soon to be updated, this number, 10-0 at home with 6 shutouts.
What?
They just shut out the Rockies for a whole weekend. Oh, when the Rockies come to town, boys, you know what happens. You know what happens? The Rockies leave without scoring a single run. Bud Black had 3 more Lagunitas than the Rockies had runs this weekend because he polished down 1 per night and said, "Oh, that's baseball." Dang it. Shut out again. Holy crap. The Padres are hotter than a firecracker, boys.
I just want to say that we are recording this at about 9:15 p.m. Pacific time. And as of now, the Rockies have scored a run against the Los Angeles Dodgers. They are losing to the Dodgers 5-1, but Padres better is what I'm trying to say.
That's clear evidence, and that cannot be refuted.
Well, we're not just going to wave pom-poms tonight, but we're going to do some because it should be done. To be perfectly honest, I thought it was pretty funny today to open up the Monday power rankings and see people like, there, Padres, good job. You can be second or third. You know, we're going to put the Dodgers, of course, we're going to put the Dodgers ahead of you, but we're going to probably put the Cubs ahead of you too. And, we're going to put the Giants right next to you, but we're going to give you a little credit for having the best record in Major League Baseball. I feel like the Padres have earned this record. I think that's the first thing I want to say. This is going to be a very happy show. But I think the Padres have earned this record. I don't think it's been like, oh, well, holy crap. They just played, a lot of folks looked at that weekend and said, well, they just played the terrible Rockies. So this is just what happens. You play the terrible Rockies. And of course you get 3 straight wins and 3 straight shutouts. No. In fact, the 3-game sweep moved the Padres to 34-33 over the last 4 seasons against Colorado. So, it's easy for someone in New York to write that, but the reality is the way the Padres have been playing has been nothing short of exemplary.
There's been a little bit of fortune involved. I mean, they're 5-0 in one-run games as I talk tonight at this moment. That could change. But and that's always an indicator that we look at the end of the year as kind of like of a measure of like how lucky was this manager, how lucky was this team, how'd they do there. But it's not an overall like karmic tilt in their favor. Like it's not every night after night the calls are going their way and the balls are dropping just for them. No, they are coming through in crucial situations. They're seeing fantastic performances from key guys and depth pieces. Robert Suarez leads MLB in saves. There's a lot of contributions happening that are putting them in the place that they are, which is the best team in Major League Baseball. We all thought they were going to be.
I just want to know, because this is something that we talk about constantly with the Rockies, and I believe it was our patron Vic who brought up this on one of your post-game shows, Chris, that you did this weekend, that Craig, you had the metric last year of wins against LA minus losses against the Rockies. Do I have that
Right.
correct?
Yes.
Yes. And we that was there for a reason, because it was not just like a given that we didn't beat the Rockies. It was almost expected that they were always going to be our bugaboo. And, going back the last few years, the Padres lost the season series 8-5 last season against the Rockies. They won 9-4 in 2023, that cursed year. But then going back to 2022, when a very good Padres team lost the season series 10-9 against the Rockies back before the schedules got a little bit balanced. 2021, again, 11-8. I mean, like, this is the Padres have only won the season series against the Rockies 2 times in the last 6 seasons. Okay, so this was a less than likely scenario, less than likely proposition, and to get 3-0 up without allowing a run, and just like doing the easy things that need to be done, because that is the thing that not to talk too much TV on here, but like Severance was a show that I thought did the hard things really well and did the easy things poorly. And that was what it felt like the Padres did a lot. Certainly last season, where they got swept by the Rockies, swept by the Angels, yada, yada, yada. So, again, it's one of those things that the Padres should be doing, but it still feels good when they do it, Craig.
And I would say the Padres have played a very challenging schedule so far. Now, the Cubs have had a harder schedule, but you face, okay, I want to use this for context. Like, people have been parroting, well, look at the Padres' great record against losing teams, because that includes 4 wins against Atlanta. I'm not willing to write off Atlanta as a losing team. They got off to a losing start. They're not going to finish with a losing record. That's a good team that we beat 4 times in a row. And whatever was going on with them was going on with them. We beat them 4 times in a row. Then you faced the American League Central champions. You swept them. You swept them away. Then you went to face a dynamite Cubs team in a very cold Wrigley Field. Complete change in everything. And, you lost 2, but then you won a game that was a big-time comeback win at Wrigley Field. A game that you absolutely last year would have lost, the year before would have lost, for sure. Okay, the A's aren't any great shakes, but they're not a terrible team, and you beat them 2 out of 3 on the road. That's good. And now you're home. Okay, the Rockies. That's the one, to us, hard team. This was the week we were worried about, was A's and Rockies. So I'm not going to come into the week going, I'm worried about this week, and then come out of the week having won 5 out of 6 and go, oh, well, who cares? It was the A's and the Rockies. No. Now they're playing the Cubs again. This is a good team. I think the Cubs are going to be a tremendous team all year long. And, we'll talk about it more, but they're 3 outs away, as we're discussing, from winning this game too. So I don't think they've had a cakewalk. I don't think it's been, pastry shop for the San Diego Padres. And the fact that they beat a bad Rockies team 3 in a row, to me, is not an indictment of the Padres. It's something to underline.
For sure, dude. And like I do hear that it's hard not to talk about this team nearly every day and not come off like a cheerleader. And we don't necessarily want to be cheerleaders for the Padres. But who we do want to be cheerleaders for are our new patrons. And I have a list of names for you, Craig. It's so big. This name is massive. Here we go. Arnie, Peter, Jose, Will, Toby, Allison, Dan, Cassie, Ed, Cheyenne, Tyler, 2K Potato. What's Tootles Hobbles? Jacob, Tom, Padre and Oz, DB, Trevor Time, Dimitri, Jesus, Adam, Isaac, Dave, McGee, Bailey, Trevor, Kyle, Luke, Norman, Andrew, Joel, George, Nate, Sean, Alex, Mike, Tyler, Arjun, S.A. Shanks, Thomas, X369, Michael, and Arturo. Thank you all very much for joining our community as we get to watch the best stretch of Padres baseball to begin a season ever. Oh my God!
Incredible stuff. Now, if you're new to the show or newish to the show, you should know that Chris and Raphie, whenever we have the displeasure of recording while a game is on, they are within like 5 to 10 seconds. Oh, shit. Wow. So they're like 5 to 10 seconds together, and then it's like another 40 seconds to get to me. But I see I am now confident with 88% of precincts reporting to declare a winner in SDV via CHI for Monday. And it's going to be the Padres, ladies and gentlemen. As Fernando Tatis Jr. hits his second home run of the night.
111,
second
baby.
Home run of the night. Sixth of the season?
Yes, that is his sixth of the season.
This would now be his 16th game that he has hit safely in. All 16 games this dude has played in, he has reached base. He is some kind of awesome.
Some kind of awesome. Indeed. Okay. That means it's time to wheel it out. It's time to wheel it out. There's been many times over the course of the last several seasons that we have had to bring out of the closet, dust off, and plug in the concernometer. You know, and it takes a little while to get revved up, and it glows red, and dee green,
and
yellow,
it leaves
red,
a stink
yellow, red.
after it's run for a little bit.
There's a little bit of an after smell, but here at Padres Hot Tub, where we do appreciate our patrons so deeply, but we don't have an unlimited budget. When the team's going really good, what we do is we turn around the concernometer. Flip it to the backside.
Yeah.
And we get to the all positive, only green lights, just different shades of green. We get to the Believo meter. And that's what we're going to play on this episode of Padres Hot Tub is we're going to play some Believo meter because I think when a team starts 14-3, 11-0 at home, it's time to challenge some conventions. Are you shitting me? He didn't. He did.
Luis Arias to the porch, baby.
We are living
to our patrons and to our free feed listeners. You can email us at padreshottub@gmail.com. Just tell us if you like when we do these live reactions, because I can never get a read on if it's annoying to be in the future and hear stuff in the past. I assume when it's happy, like tonight, it must be fun to hear us live reacting to the Padres long dicking the Cubs right now. But you'll have to tell us what you think. Do you like these interjections? Because I'm having a lot of fun watching Craig, knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I liked that in their celebrations for Luis, they all pounded him on the chest for hitting the home run. They all gave him the David Macias chest pound. So that's awesome. Okay, so I'm bringing out the Believo meter, boys, and everyone can throw some different things in and have it whirl and chip. But I'm going to start with this. This is a thesis statement. I want to challenge all of us, including myself. statement is this. We screwed up. We were all way too low on our official prediction episode because the Padres are an iron lead pipe cinch for 90 plus wins in 2025. We all missed the mark. We picked 84, 85 wins. The Padres are a lock for 90 plus based on this 14-3 start. Gentlemen, the machine only goes up to 10. Rev up the Believo meter. What do you got?
Okay. So I have to do something which I think is very baseball fan coded, which is get very pedantic right now. So I need to question the premise a little bit because you're asking me if the Padres are a lock for 90 wins, or you're asking me what I think the chances are that the Padres are going to get 90 wins. Because I have two very different
your
answers.
level of belief in that statement.
And keep
What
in
is your
mind,
level?
My level of belief is 0 because nothing is a fucking lock in baseball. Okay? You're asking me if something's a lock.
Well, no,
nothing's
let
a
me
lock.
can I reframe it, Raphie? Did you read Calvin and Hobbes? In
No.
Calvin and Hobbes, Calvin had a box and he would write time traveling machine on it. And if it wasn't time traveling machine, he'd write a different thing on it. And what we've done, if we've taken our concernometer, where we don't dial it up per se, but we do go to the extremes of our opinions. And for the beliefometer, I think we kind of got to do the same thing to keep the exercise intellectually honest, no? Like, you have to suspend the knowledge that shoulder ligaments exist for the beliefometer, right?
Of course. The team bus could be derailed like happened to the Angels when Doug Rader was the manager. Anything could happen.
Yes.
But this is the Believo-meter. How much do you believe that now? Okay, let me shave it down a little bit so we can get it inside so Raphie will accept. Okay? At 0-0, you believed this team was going to win 85, or in Chris's super pessimistic case, 84 games. But now they've done something you didn't expect. They have won 14 of 17 games to begin the season. So, the Believo-meter is how much that you think that they only banked 14 of 85 wins early, and it's just a matter of win distribution, and nothing's changed. You still think they're the same team. They've just won a lot of their games early, and they'll lose more late. Or my belief has changed. 14-3 has changed my belief about the team, and now I believe they are a 90-win team. That's your template.
I believe I'd say I'd put that statement at a 5 out of 10. I think it's about 50-50 that they're a 90-win team. That's how much my number has been raised.
Fair. Understandable. Completely wrong. I'm a 10. This team is playing exactly like they did the last 2 months of the season when they were playing Never Neverland ball like the Lost Boys, and it was nuts and it was fun. And that exact energy, which we had feared lost with Jurickson Profar. He's the rascal. He's leaving. Ha-Sung Kim. He's the prince. He's leaving. The chants are gone. We fretted over that, and these guys have come back to earth running. They are all in it together. We've thrown a bunch of examples on our Instagram page of these dudes playing for causes other than their baseball cards and delivering on the type of spirit of baseball which we don't see at the major league level all the time. They're having fun, so to speak. It's a trope, but like they're all in it together. Gator Wade is back, for crying out loud. I'm at a 10.
Okay. At least we got where I was hoping to go with the discussion. So we got a 5 from Raphie. We got a 10 from Chris. Now I'm going to try and put a little Raphie into my answer. Okay. And let's talk about the numbers. The Padres, and this was based on the Padres being 13-3. Okay. this afternoon, the Padres were 13-3. So you could say they're 10 games over 500. So if the Padres went 500 the rest of the season, over 146 games, if they went 500 the rest of the season, they would win 86 games, right? Because they'd finish 10 games over 500, which is exactly where they were when I began this thought exercise. 10 games over 500. Okay. But none of us thought that the Padres were going to finish at 500. We thought the Padres were going to win around 84, 85, 80, right? Games. So what I thought to myself was, what if instead of playing 500 the rest of the year, they just played at the winning percentage of an 86
so far?
No, not that they're on a 131 win pace right now, Chris. So no.
I thought you would drink
that.
the Chris aid for a second.
Right, yes. My actual Believo meter is 5,000 out of 10. I have broken the machine. No, I said, what if they just played? I did the thing, 86 and 76. What's the winning percentage? That winning percentage is 531. What if they just played a 531 winning percentage the rest of the year? Okay, 531 times 146 was 77.5, which if you added that to the 13 wins that they had, that's 90. That's
out.
90. So my opinion is that the Padres floor, never mind that. My expectation level of where this team should be, which was at 85, has gone to 90. And that's where I think this team should be now, because they've gone 14-3. I don't think that they've got a 3-14 waiting right around the corner. Maybe there is. I don't know. But what I'm looking at is a team that can continue to just play winning baseball the rest of the year, not supremo, just winning baseball. And they've got, I'd say, a clear, reasonable path to continuing Mike Schilt's legacy of never winning fewer than 90 games in a full season. Believo meter, 8.
Okay.
Pretty high.
Pretty
Can't go
high.
10 because, baseball, stupid stuff. But 8. Okay. The machine is working. We oiled it up there. It was a little clunky.
Smells good.
It's as good as what you feed it,
night
basically.
jasmine.
If you feed it bad stuff, it smells bad. If you feed it good
and that's
stuff.
why with the concernometer, we're not running it, because we have to feed it eggs, and they're pricey.
Always.
They're very expensive.
Always and always.
Yeah.
Very expensive.
Have you seen the price
The
of
Believo
eggs?
meter runs on leaded gasoline, so luckily,
Correct. We're safe for now.
That's why it
Next
smells
up
so
on
good.
the Believo meter, Fernando Tatis Jr. will finish the year no lower than 3rd in National League MVP.
10.
Believo meter.
10. I'm sorry, dude. Like, the only hedging that I would have is injury. And like, I don't think that that's fair, because like, how can you potentially, so if you're asking me to hedge with injury, I'd say 8, but I mean, it's a 10. Like, there's like you put this dude on the field, he is a walking MVP award. Like, and I don't think, honestly, that if Nando keeps playing the way that he's playing now, I mean, I don't think you can just say Shohei Ohtani being a pitcher then wins him an MVP award. I think he has to then also be a good pitcher because of what Nando is accomplishing. It is not a given. He would have to reach the heights that he once reached as a pitcher and also still be a top 5 hitter in baseball for Shohei to win over Nando if Nando continues playing like this. I really think Nando is that good.
That's a 10, Chris.
That is a 10. It's been said that I have the integrity of a 1963 bumper on a Ford F200, meaning it's really strong and heavy. And
Take your word for it.
I can't have integrity if I'm going to come on here and say my concernometer for Nando's shoulder is a 7. just the last time we talked about it and not have that factor a little in my Believo meter. As a hat tip to El Nino and his 2 home runs tonight, I will put my Believo meter at an 8 above that 7 because he is playing next level friggin' Space Jam level baseball. The guy has been insane. 2 home runs tonight, not counting those 2 home runs tonight. In 15 games, he has accumulated 1.3 baseball reference WAR. That is insane. That's a 11-12 WAR pace, I want to say. I'm not the math guy here. You guys can run it. Either way, he's a mutant. He's playing like a mutant. He saved a game defensively the other night and a really tight one where Kyle Hart was kind of giving up some hard contact all over the place. Nando, when he's in right field, you don't worry about it near as much. So I'm at a really solid Detroit built 8.
I love that. Um, it's I'm just looking at his numbers right now. I mean, they are so spectacular. And check this out. Okay, just compare. Now he got hurt last year. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
But just comparing tonight, Fernando Tatis Jr. has scored 3 more runs. He has scored 16 runs this season in their 17th game. He has scored 16 runs. So obviously pace of 150 something runs. Some, Lenny Dykstra crazy number of runs. Last season, Fernando scored 64 runs. So he is already a quarter of the way to his season run total today. Last year, he hit 21 homers. Now he's got 6. He's over a quarter of a way to his season home run total on April 14th. He drove in 49 runs last year. He's already driven in 12. He's just a tick under a quarter of the way to his number. Now, how much of the season has he played? 15%. He's got 15% of the at-bats that he had last year. And he's already over a quarter of the way to those numbers. So that just shows you how far he is ahead of his paces. Raphie can get into the advanced stats, how he's not swinging out of the zone, how he's taking the ball where it's being pitched and he's driving it where it's supposed to go. I think it is all part and parcel of a superstar that's bought into a philosophy and then has been put into the exact right situation to exploit it by making him the leadoff hitter for the team. And the upside is unlimited. I'm a 9.5. I think this is the year. And by the way, 9.5 is about where I think his WAR is going to wind up this year. I think we're going to see one of these crazy seasons that we've been dreaming about since 2021, that we've been thinking and hoping would be year after year. And then 22 happened, and then 23 happened, and then 24 happened. And it was 3 straight years of doubt for Fernando Tatis Jr. And a lot of folks that were willing to take those reduced versions of him and say that's the best he'll ever be. He's only going to be the same as this or worse the rest of his career. No, there's a level in which he's the best player in the game. And he's showing that right now. And as he continues to show it, health willing, he will finish top 3 in MVP, and he could finish top 1 in MVP.
Before Raphie wraps up the Nando talk, I want to talk a little bit more about those streaks, that getting on base streak. He has only had 3 other streaks longer than the one he is on right now, which is 16 games in his rookie year. Leading into the 2020 season after he got hurt, he had a 19-game streak that split those 2 seasons. Last year, he had a 22-game streak, and his performance up to that point, which is right before he hurt his leg, is almost exactly what we are seeing right now. The dude has literally picked up where he left off when he was at his hottest last season. And I don't see where the league adapts like they've seen him for 6 years now. This is him beating all of their adaptations. This is him beating their adjustments.
Yeah. I think the thing I'm most intrigued about with Nando so far this season is that, look, I mean, his batting line is like, let me just read it out because I don't think he's going to take another at bat in this game. He's slashing 361, 429, 672 right now. That is good for a 210 WRC plus so far on this season. Another aspect that I just find interesting is that Nando right now has the lowest launch angle of his career at 5.5 degrees so far in the season. That's down from a pretty consistent 10 degrees in 24, 11 degrees in 23, 13.8 in 21. So I'm not saying there's another gear for him to hit if he starts lifting the ball a little bit more. Perhaps this is an intentional part of the strategy, which is leading to it higher expected batting average numbers. But man, I mean, there's the eye test part of, like you were saying, Craig, like not chasing those pitches out of the zone, those down and away sliders, which have always been a bugaboo for him. But I just think the part that is the kind of the most shocking to me is that Nando's technically getting unlucky right now based on his quality of contact. He has an expected slug of 725 right now against his actual slug of 672. So that is why my my Believo meter is at a 10. Is that I just think, looking at some of these underlying numbers, like there may even be another gear to hit when the weather gets a little bit warmer and things start to change. And oh, by the way, I know this is something you wanted to talk about, Chris. Petco Park's gone back to being Petco Park in April. And so Nando's doing all of this in what is now statistically the most difficult baseball park to hit in. So I don't even know what another gear looks like for Nando, but it's in there, guys. It's in there.
Sick. Great round of Tatis talk. Let's go to the next piece of beef to feed into the Believo meter. And it goes like this. The Padres pitching depth is good enough. Everything we were worried about, we don't need to be worried. Believo meter, should we rotate, or does Raphie just have to take first swing every time?
No, I'll take a lead off on this one. I'm at a
All right.
9 because I've been pretty, like, I think the only thing that's gone against them is Matt Waldron not being available and Matt Waldron being put on the 60-day IL. That's the only knock. And I think that they've seen Ryan Bergert kind of flourish in ways that are a little unexpected. That dude's added velocity. He's on the 40 man. He's right there ready to go. I think that the starting rotation has enough depth, and we haven't heard that Darvish, that kind of nail in the coffin news that some people expected right away when we heard that he had inflammation. It's looking like he's on track to ramp up. I feel really confident in it with it as assembled.
Okay, that's a 9. Wow. Okay, I'll just go
Yeah.
second so you can go third, Raphie. I will definitely not go that high. I think that we are
Randy Vasquez, baby.
well. That's the thing. We are running off of a set of Vasquez 6 innings, 1 hit, Pivetta basically 7 innings perfect, a King complete game shutout, and Kyle Hart 6 innings shutout, 1 hit, no walks. That might not be the single best turn through the rotation, but it might be. In terms of for those guys, I'm going to put this at a 5. They have gotten halfway to convincing me that they've got enough. I think that if Kyle Hart had given up 6 runs in 1 inning again, as opposed to no runs in 6 innings again, it would be an entirely different discussion. And I'm not positive that the pitcher I saw at Petco Park is so much different from the pitcher I saw at Wrigley Field that couldn't get out of the first inning. If we took 2 injuries to our rotation, I don't know how psyched we'd be day in and day out with what we were getting. But having said that, I'm starting to open my mind to the possibility that Randy Vasquez is going to be an important part of the Padres for 6 years. That he's going to be a regular part of the starting rotation and a good pitcher. And not, and I know it could all turn around. I know that he's had batted ball luck. He's had a lot of things. But also he's gotten a lot better against lefties this year. He has not, in a small sample, been the exact same pitcher that he was before. So I'm opening my mind to that, and I still think Waldron is going to contribute to this team. The 60-day disabled list thing, I think, was procedural because they had to open a 40-man roster spot, and I don't think that the team rates him at the level where they were worried about losing the 20-ish days of service that they maybe are losing on this. But I still think Waldron is going to have effective summer starts for this team down the road. So, like I said, I don't know about you, Raphie. I'm about halfway there. I'm about halfway to believing in the Padres pitching depth.
So I always tend to look on the Padres schedule at when they're going to be playing in Cincinnati. Shout out to Monty, our beloved patron who's absconded to Cincinnati. Because Cincinnati, and this is no shots at Cincinnati, but in my opinion, when I think of it's a hot summer day and you're down 7-2 in the 3rd inning and you just want to get the fuck out of X city, yeah. I always think Cincinnati in my head. and right now the Padres play Cincinnati the final weekend in June 27th through 29th. I'm sure Monty will be there. And I'm thinking in my head, what is the Padres rotation going to look like on June 29th? How confident am I that the Padres have enough in the tank to get to that Sunday afternoon when I'm sure it is going to be hot as fuck in Cincinnati and probably eating too much Skyline chili?
Seeing as a teaspoon is too much, then I agree, yes.
Yes, exactly. There's cinnamon in there, Craig. They put cinnamon in. What are they doing?
Ridiculous.
Okay, anyway. And if you're asking me how much I believe the statement that the Padres pitching depth is good enough, I'm more like a 3. Because I look at the Padres right now, and what we've gotten are 3 looks at the rotation, 3 turns to the rotation. And oh, by the way, one of those turns to the rotation, the entire rotation was dog shit.
That had like a 12 ERA for one turn.
We just happened to have great offense and great sequencing through that time. I'm not trying to yuck our yums. I'm having so much fun right now as a Padres fan. I just want to say in terms, and this is specifically in terms of the pitching depth, because we're going to talk about the rest of the lineup in just a moment, and I'm going to have probably a different answer. But when it comes to pitching depth and you're thinking about a full 162, and I look at this team now in their current form, and Matt Waldron's on the 60-day, and we don't know when Yu Darvish is coming back. We're hearing whispers of a few weeks, but we don't know. And like you said, all it takes is one more poke on the domino, and now it's not that, we get to see Ryan Bergert. We need Ryan Bergert to work out. And that worries me a little bit. Doesn't mean that I think that I don't think that the Padres won't be successful, because I think that they can still be successful in spite of their pitching depth, because I think that this team offensively has a lot of potential. But if you're asking me how much I believe the statement that the Padres pitching depth is good enough, I'm at a 3.
Okay, I want to point out that it's about the entire pitching depth and not just the rotation. and then offer a concise rebuttal, and that is Ruben Niebla.
It's a good
Great
rebuttal.
at his job. He was just
Well
saying that
taken.
before we recorded. Yeah.
Yeah, good rebuttal. Well taken. Wide range on this particular Believo meter, stretching the Believo meter. We had a 9, a 5, and we had a 3. Okay, I've got one more to throw into the Believo meter, which is this. We were too worried about the bottom of the lineup. That was just a bunch of concern trolling. We okay. We all right. Bottom of the lineup, gonna be all right. Believo meter. Okay, I'll go first. 3.5. I'm not convinced. I think we could have a month where the catchers go 0 for, or 1 for, or 2 for. I think Elias Diaz is probably a little bit better than people wanted to give him credit for. But Martin Maldonado is overperforming. The fact that we're on our third string center fielder and it's T Wade, locked in T Wade. Excellent Gatorade solution, long-term solution, not so much. So I could still see it be an issue. It's not as big an issue if the big hitters are hitting gigantic. And I think Jose Iglesias is really helpful. But he's kind of hitting 6, so I don't think he counts for the equation. So I'm only going to go 3.5 on saying that the bottom of the lineup is that we were too worried. The question is, were we too worried? I only believe to a 3.5 that we were too worried. They still have to convince me.
I'm right there with you. I just want to jump on because we're basically aligned. I was going to put it at a 3, a half step lower. And that's because Tyler Wade is back on the team. And you guys know how I feel about it. It's not necessarily even the bottom of the lineup. That 7th spot has actually been quite fantastic, putting up a, compared to the league OPS of 149. They've been really good. Jose Iglesias has been a shot in the arm there. Gavin Sheets has had the most at bats out of anybody else there to a tune of a 935 OPS. The spot in the lineup that has been problematic and why I continue to be really worried is the 6th spot. And Xander Bogaerts has had the most at bats there and done okay. Like if he's there, the spot's going to be fine. But Yuri Gurriel is the number 2 taker of at bats in that spot. And he has managed to put together, compared to the league, SOPS plus of -19. He's been dreadful. While he is on the team, my number cannot float up. It is tied to the bottom of the ocean until that guy is gone.
Yeah,
Poor
I
Tyler.
would say I'll zag just a little bit, and just say that I'll put it at a 5, only because I think that the Padres will improve by dropping Yuli Gurriel eventually. I just have to believe that to continue to wake up and leave my house every morning. But so by virtue of that addition by subtraction, I think that they will get better. I think that the Padres have some good options in El Paso. Connor Joe got called up today. Shockingly, Luis Campusano is actually tearing up El Paso right now, which I mean
Yes.
he's done historically in the past. Jonathan Perlaza is tearing up El Paso. And go ahead.
There is
Chris.
another.
Tirso?
There is another. No, Trenton fucking Brooks has got the 3rd. He's the 3rd ranked minor league player by Fangraphs right now. Trenton fucking Brooks. That's our next lefty, baby. Terso Train is gone. Sorry,
Wow.
my friend.
Holy shit, he turned so
Train
fast.
has left the station. I found another Trent. I'm on the Trenton train, baby. I'm buying up cards.
I'll just finish my thought by saying that the Padres 7 through 9 hitters right now have a BABIP of 345. That's the second highest in baseball.
Sure.
No 7 through 9 slot last year in baseball had a higher BABIP than 321, and the median was 283. The Padres last year, 275. So it's just not sustainable. They're putting the ball in play a lot. Good for them. We got some fast guys, by the way, in the bottom 7, 8, 9 right now between Lockridge and Wade. Lockridge obviously going to the IL. So that's gonna bump up the BABIP numbers. But yeah, I think it's still a little bit of smoke and not fire, Craig.
Well, the game's over. 10-4 is the final. The Padres are 11-0 at home. This is the best start in the history of the franchise. They are 14-3. 11-0 at home.
Man.
11-0. Crowd of well over 40,000 tonight on cheap Hawaiian shirt night. On a Monday night for the Padres and the Cubbies are a big draw, of course. But what's happening in San Diego is so fucking special right now. And I understand the dead hand of statistics. I do. I preach about it. I talk about it all the time. I understand that baseball is an incredibly long season and that you can go back and look and find pretty much every year for the Padres, at least the last 5 years, a stretch like this in the season. Now, in 2023, it was literally the last 16 games of the season, right, when they went 14-2. But there's been stretches, early in 2022, late in 2024, early in 2021, 2020, only a 60-game season, but 37-23, right? So we know that this team can get hot and that there's a difference between hot and greatness. But caveats aside, I think getting off to an incredible start to a season carries bonus weight. It's an extra bonus to your team because you've created a belief system and you've just not just reinforced it. You've force fed it, the belief system. It's there now. It's like you can't help but believe in your team now. Everyone is operating at such a high level now. And this team, I don't think we truly understood how good a Tatis Manny-led team could be. We dreamed about it. We thought about it. But then those middling results in 19 and 21 and 23, large stretches of 22, first 100 games of 24, you kind of wonder, but something changed. It's a different system. It's a different manager. It took a while for it to lock in, but it's locked in. We've seen it since. We saw it through the second half. Then they come to spring training, and it's Manny and Tatis carrying Schilt's water, reinforcing the message. Cronenworth, bringing it to the new players on the team, and everyone is bought in. So I have 100% raised my thoughts for this team and my expectations for this team. I think this is a 90-win team. I think it has a chance to be a 100-win team. I do. Will it? I don't know. There's a lot of things that have to go right still. But this team is fucking good. And the heights to which they can reach with a bullpen that is locked down, an offense that has got superstars to power it, and two dominant starters with some other guys that are pretty fucking intriguing. I don't know, guys. I'm super, super, super hype, and I'm trying not to be overhype. And that's why I just wanted to kind of do the Believo meter tonight and go through this because, my main, if nothing else, walk away from this understanding. I don't think this is an 85-win team anymore. I think this is a 90-win team. That's my expectation level, and I think they could do better than that.
Luck is a part of all this. Like Raphie points out the BABIP and there's some luck factor in it. But ball in play is the Padres' identity. They're number 1 in the league at batting average again. In 2023, we all screamed like insane people that the team didn't have an approach at the plate. And that's why we saw the terrible statistics based around runners in scoring position. And that kind of got chalked up in the broader conversation as luck. And that was unfair because a big part of it, as we've seen, the complete reversing of that particular statistic, not quite this year, it's still not great with runners in scoring position, but the team's approach at the plate has been ball in play.
I want to have some fun little trivia time with you guys because we're now at a point where 17 games into the season, the Padres are 14-3. There are not many teams in baseball history that have done that. Going back to 1901, there are only 35 teams that have won at least 14 of their 17 games to start the season.
Wow.
And I can tell you from that group, actually, let's have a guess. How many of the 35 teams do you think went on to win the World Series?
To win the World Series?
To win the World Series.
I'm going to go with 12.
Back to 1901.
8.
Craig Stradamus. 8 teams. 8 out of 35 teams.
Okay.
Now, I don't think that that's particularly instructive because some of those teams were the 1913 Philadelphia Athletics, managed, I believe, by Connie Mack at that time.
I think so.
The 1922 New York Giants, the 1931 St. Louis Browns. I'm just going to fast forward a little bit to the expansion era, starting at 1961 to present day. In the expansion era, not including the Padres, of course, 16 teams have won 14 of their first 17 games. How many world champions do you think are in that lot?
I'm going back to the same ratio, which is a third. So now I'm going to still say 8, inexplicably.
5?
There are 3. Those 3 teams. Those 3 teams are the 2018 Boston Red Sox. Hold on to your hat, folks. The 1984 Detroit Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
And the 1981 Los Angeles Dodgers, Craig's favorite team. Anyway,
88 probably, not 81, but yeah.
This is the question that I had for you guys. How many of those teams do you think of? This is 16 teams now. How many of those teams do you think failed to make the playoffs?
3.
It's tough because you got it used to be so much smaller of a playoff field. So
that's
I like
true.
that.
That's
like that
true.
guess.
I could be off. That could be more like
I
six.
like
6
3
seems
though.
like a lot though.
I'm gonna go 3. I'm because Craig Stradamus is fucking sitting here.
I felt confident, but when I'm confident, I'm wrong.
Craig Stradamus is firing again because there's 6 teams. 6 teams out of 16 did not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay.
You felt the stink of Chris Stradamus.
I felt
it's like
it.
this guy's been eating eggs.
Okay, last question, you guys. How many teams were 500 or worse of the 16?
0.
1?
0.
3.
Damn
3.
3 teams finished 500 or worse.
Wow.
And the 2003 Kansas City Royals only won 83 games. The 2001 Minnesota Twins only won 85 games. So 3 teams finished 500 or worse. Those are the 1966 Cleveland Indians, who, oh, by the way, were the other team that had also shut out 6 opponents to start the season. Padres joined them. They finished 81-81. The 1988 Cleveland Indians finished 78-84. And after starting the season with a record of 14-3, the 1978 Oakland Athletics then went on to finish the season 69-93.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So
bad.
I say that all as just A, because that's a fun exercise to do, and B, because
it's good.
baseball is stupid.
Yes.
Baseball is stupid and no one should watch. And the season is so exciting and we enjoy these Padres, but there's a lot of baseball left. A lot of very exciting and fun baseball to be had. And I don't know. I just like I just this is the shit I live for. I love when we're in like little exclusive clubs like this. The Padres become just the 36th team since 1901 to win 14 games to start a season in their first 17 games. So cool.
I love this because honestly, I feel like this is one of these kind of like guiding missions of the show all the time. Is just to give people realistic expectations and give people real information and history, some stuff to use as guidelines. So if you're telling me that what 14-3 has earned us is a better than 50% chance, pretty much, or to be a winning team, right? Because 5 of the 16 wound up either losing or kind of just right around 500, so it'd be a really disappointing finish to the year. But 11 went on to have good, nice seasons. That's about what I would expect. That's about the range I'd expect to be in. It's like if you were starting a round of golf and you started with 4 birdies in the first 5, like it doesn't mean that you couldn't completely fall apart, but it certainly augurs well for you to have a great round, that you've gotten off to a great start. I would expect some people to fall off, some people to middle out, and some people to take off and just roll, right? So you're hoping that you're the Tigers in 84, that you're just going to roll, that this is going to get to 35-5. Think about that. They went 35-5. It's just, it's crazy. You get to that point, and it's like you can literally cruise. You can pull the parachute the rest of the year, and you're still the best team in the league. It's wild, but we're not that far away. We're another 3 crazy weeks, from kind of knocking on that door. So this is exciting for Padres fans. This is exciting. This is where you are. Nothing's guaranteed. Nothing's for sure. But there's a reason the Believo meter is out here, because it's time to start adjusting your expectations positively for the San Diego Padres. Why do we think this thing is going to collapse like a house of cards? I feel like the virtuous cycle is flowing right now. The state of flow, soccer club, state of flow right now is immaculate for the San Diego Padres. And if they can just keep the flow going, I do think 90 wins will be a lock.
You cannot win 81 games at home without winning your first 11 games at home.
It's so true.
In
fact, it's the truest thing you've ever said.
I believe so.
And I heard you say yesterday that you can't win 81 at home without winning your first 10. That was true at the time, but I think you're more right now.
I think I'm about 10% more right.
I think you're definitely more right now. All right, a couple little quick things before we get out. Shmevy, this is Shmevy's corner. We got to give Shmevy, our resident, mope, a little chance. So, hey guys, have you seen how many balls Manny Machado has kicked so far this year? By the way, he's probably the worst third baseman in baseball. We got him another 9 years or 8 or whatever. So, oh my God, you see him did another. Prudent, another one, guys. Oh my God, it's the thing no one's talking about. The Padres. Machado's the absolute worst.
It almost cost them the game. Shmev, home run. Michael Busch, home run. Very next at bat.
You see it the way I see it. That's good on you.
I do.
Sometimes I disagree, but sometimes you're really smart.
Sometimes I am really smart. I mean, I haven't seen a guy who has first baseman written on him. I can't even get the words out of my mouth. They're dying.
Just stop it.
In my throat. I can't get it out. I can't even do it.
Hey, Raphie, can you give me some statistics? Because I heard the Padres' infield defense really sucks.
You can't. He's also
you
the
muted
words
yourself.
Can't physically escape him.
Damn it. I was just saying thank you, Shmevy, for that perfect tee up, and I've totally booted it, much like Manny Machado. So here's
like Manny, exactly.
Yeah. Here's the deal, guys. Like I said, we're 17 games into the season. You make of this what you will. The Padres have by far the worst infield defense so far this season, according to StatCast. -9 outs above average as a defensive unit. The second worst defense is -5. So the Padres have almost lapped the next worst infield defense. And that's because Luis Arraez is sporting a -3 outs above average. And then you kind of have Machado, Cronenworth, and Bogarts all kind of hanging around in the little low negatives, your -1s, your -2s. On the contrary, conversely, the Padres are tied for the best outfield defense in baseball with 4 outs above average. So, part of this kind of feels like by design. I mean, like, this is kind of, I don't think I would have expected them to have the worst infield defense, but if you were to tell me that 2 of the 4 infield defenders on the baseball diamond for the Padres were going to be Xander at shortstop and Luis Arraez at first base, I'd probably say it wasn't going to be a great infield defense.
Yeah. I don't imagine Jake's early error and Manny's kind of terrible grab bag of booted balls help them a lot. Real talk, I do think Manny has booted an uncharacteristically amount of ground balls hit at him. Do I think that might cost him the Golden Glove? Maybe. But do I think that Padres have any sort of alternative, or if there's even an alternative in the National League that I'd rather put there? I don't think so, no.
Yeah, this is my take. Manny's been bad so far, and I'll be very happy when the next hard hit ground ball is hit to Manny.
Yeah.
And I remember that last year, Manny started off terribly defensively, and I remember it because somebody, Schmevia Jace, would bring it up on every single missed ball, how bad it was, and therefore how bad it will be from now on, but it won't, because he's Manny Machado, and people will talk about him if there are still words and phrases in society 30 years from now as one of the greatest third basemen of the 21st century. So whatever happened in a 17-game sample defensively for Manny Machado over the course of his career could be taken and extrapolated, but what will happen over the course of his career is that he will be one of the best defensive third basemen in the history of the sport. So that's where I lay on it is, yeah, he did. He booted a couple that are pretty bad. Xander booted a couple. They're pretty crappy. Arraez, I think, is penciled out as like the worst defender in the universe. I think they even counted like atoms streaming through other galaxies and said that they would boot ground balls at a higher level than Luis Arraez. And nonetheless, despite it all, I felt very Al Pacino in Heat right there.
I was. Yeah.
Because she's got a great ass.
That is, yeah.
So overacted.
That's where we are at this podcast. We're at
the Al Pacino Al Pacino Heat cosplay moments. Yeah, not worried. Luis Arraez, by the way, 3 hits tonight? Did he get 3 hits tonight?
And a home run. Petco Porch, baby.
La Regadera. He's Luis Arraez. I'll tell you something that I agreed with a patron that people probably think I pick on too much. I saw that particular patron today say, doesn't matter, he'll be a 2-WAR player at the end of the year, and he'll get there his own way. And he's right.
Yeah.
He'll get there his own way. He's not perfect. He's Luis Arraez. But he hits the ball. It's fun.
And he looks good in those City Connects.
True. Imagine if he wasn't hitting second and Jackson Merrill was. How much better it would be. Okay, that's where the show is. What a show. What a show it was. It's Padres Hot Tub. The good times are rolling. Let's just keep rolling. 11-0. Let's go. Post-game shows continue all week. If you want to hear them here on the free feed, you can do it. You can listen to the post-game show tomorrow. Patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. That's the way to do it. Patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. Join the ever-burgeoning community. that is celebrating the 2025 San Diego Padres. For Raphie and Chris, I'm Craig. Go Pods.